Qin Shi Huang theme. It. In 2025, across all directions, natural disasters followed one another like apocalyptic drumbeats. Fiery heat waves swept across oceans, submerging entire coastal cities. On land, droughts and scorching heat burned fields, leaving cracked earth like the groaning skin of the planet. Meanwhile, volcanoes awakened, erupting to veil the sky with ash. Earthquakes reminded humanity that the ground beneath their feet was more fragile than ever. In City, the sky seemed torn apart by raging storms. Multiple cameras simultaneously captured a dragon. And the dragon's roar, deep, resonant, long, echoing through the clouds like a warning from primordial times. The feeling was like being in a sci-fi movie. But it was all real footage. On May 2, 2025, centered around the Qin Shi Huang mausoleum, dozens of kilometers were engulfed in violent storms. Beneath the dense cloud layer, a divine light flickered.
In other directions, people saw a black dragon gliding by, leading a prolonged roar. In slow motion, zoomed in, you'd see that black creature tearing through clouds in an instant. Then from multiple directions around Xi'an, the same colossal sound echoed back, identical to the sound of a celestial horn from creation myths.
S roar, Shi. Was Qin Shi Huang really human? Where did his strange DNA come from? The shocking discovery in today's video will completely change your perspective on our origins. Zibuyu.
This means when there are dragons in heaven, great men will appear on earth, referring to extremely tall, sage-like individuals.
And everyone knows it.
Could the pyramid in Qin Shi Huang's mausoleum have started activating?
In 259 BC, in Handan, capital of Zhao, a child of royal blood was born during turbulent times. This was Ying Zheng, later known worldwide as Qin Shi Huang.
His origins were already controversial. Son of King Xuanshang of Chen and Zhaoji, a woman who once served as concubine in Lu Buwei's residence, a great merchant and renowned strategist of that era.
This ambiguity about his lineage became a shadow following him throughout life, with opponents mocking him as a merchant's son. In 246 BC, at just 13 years old, Ying Zheng succeeded as king of Qin, but his youth prevented him from immediately taking power.
The regency was then held by Lu Buwei and the Queen Dowager. Only upon reaching adulthood did Ying Zheng begin to consolidate power, gradually eliminating old factions and strengthening the court. With iron will, he spent the next 26 years conducting a great unification war, successfully destroying Han, Zhao, Wei, Shu, Yan, and finally Qi.
In 221 BC, at age 39, Ying Zheng completed his great enterprise, sweeping away the centuries-old feudal system, ending the spring and autumn and warring states periods, opening a new era. He proclaimed himself first emperor, China's first emperor in history, with ambitions of passing the throne for 10,000 generations, elevating himself beyond all previous kings. Later historians criticized him as a tyrant, burning books, burying scholars, oppressing people, building the Great Wall, constructing lavish tombs. But there were also voices recognizing his great achievements in establishing foundations for a unified nation with standardized administration, laws, and measurements. Ming scholar Li Ji exclaimed, calling him the first emperor through the ages, the supreme emperor of millennia who permanently changed China's historical landscape. But here's something extremely strange that many might not know. Such a monumental emperor like Qin Shi Huang has no excavated portraits or statues to this day. Not a single one. If you don't believe me, check. All Qin Shi Huang portraits you see today are later imaginative recreations. Sankai Tuhui. Ancient emperors. Ancient emperors. Why? Could it be that Qin dynasty was too primitive, lacking skilled artists? Look at the Qin Shi Huang Terracotta Army, each face vivid and unique.
Look at Qin bronze craftsmanship. Artisans could carve individual feather strands on bronze birds. Realistic style, breathing with.
Archaeologists acknowledge that Qin art 2200 years ago reached exceptional heights. As fall came cultural discontinuity. Later Han and Tang dynasties never regained Qin. So the question arises, why would such brilliant art leave no portraits or statues of Qin Shi Huang? Could they be hiding something? Was Qin Shi Huang different from ordinary people? Did he intentionally conceal himself, using book burning to destroy all evidence? Thinking this, 100,000 whys appear in my mind. So, was Qin Shi Huang human or not? S appearance mainly have two sources. First is typing Yulan. S context. Sima Qian records in many spies from the 6 states appeared in Qin. Then erupted the shocking Zhengguo incident. The Zhengguo Canal, massive hydraulic project Qin spent over 10 years building, was exposed. Chief engineer was a spy sent by Han, intentionally building a mega project to exhaust Qin. The court was shaken. Yin Zheng was furious, planned to expel all foreigners from Qin. But Minister Li Si advised careful consideration, couldn't cut everything with one knife. Your Majesty cannot handle this with blanket laws. The best strategy is horizontal alliances, spending 300,000 gold to bribe powerful ministers, disrupt their plans, then the feudal lords will fear. 300,000 gold can destroy 6 states.
After hearing this, the ruler found it to be an excellent strategy. From then on, he greatly trusted and relied on Wen Lu, treating him with the utmost confidence as if he were a divine confidant. Every day,
S character. He observed that the king of Qin was petty in character, with bird-like features and long eyes. He was vindictive, had a jackal.
The intended meaning here is that the king of Qin has a stern appearance, with long, upturned eyes resembling those of a hawk, wide like a wolf or jackal, lacking in compassion, and possessing the heart of a tiger or wolf. He never wishes to be subordinate to anyone. Once he achieves his ambition, he desires to
Fong Chuan.
Long eyes are elongated and narrow. Refers to the chest. It means the chest resembles that of an eagle, protruding prominently, looking like a chicken's heel. This refers to the sunken chest height with an abnormally protruding sternum.
Using a cane, his voice hoarse, sounding like a jackal or a wild dog. Such an appearance was very irritating. After Nguyen Lu described him like that, the spiritual portrait of the king of Qin suddenly became extremely bizarre. Having one's way, one can easily dominate 10 men.
When the literary circle faced this, the first question that arose was, who exactly is Nguyen Lu? He claimed to be a commoner, an ordinary man in this turbulent era. Therefore, some later believed he was fabricating stories about the first emperor of Qin, attributing to the king the ambition of the tiger wolf, who devoured the sixth state. But the reality was quite different. In Tang country, Nguyen Lu was once appointed as the National Guard. This position was only below the Red General, meaning the supreme military commander, almost equivalent to the Minister of Defense today.
Having seized great power, yet daring to speak words that could cost him his head. Yet he was still valued by the king of Qin. This shows that he did not tarnish the king's reputation. You are describing the truth, because Nguyen Lu truly met Don Qin and saw through the rigid aura and the ambition of an emperor preparing to pivot history. Typing Yulan.
The first emperor, Yin Zheng, had a hooked nose, elongated eyes, a prominent chest, and the voice of a jackal. He was merciless, with the heart of a tiger or wolf. When in a humble position, he could easily do Huko is the mouth of a new emperor resembling the mouth of a lake. Perhaps the large, strong teeth are fierce like a python. The sun horn, or the horn of the sun, is even more peculiar.
The dragon strides, the tiger walks, the sun horn shines upon the heavens. The typing son of heaven, the appearance of a sage.
Among the 32 auspicious marks of Shakyamuni, it is also said that the Buddha's cranial protuberance is high. In historical records, it is called a sun disk. In vernacular language, it is called Odisha. The sages of the highest antiquity likely all shared this trait. The high, rounded cranial protuberance may very well be linked to a shared
Tai Bin Imperial Encyclopedia. S. A voice as hoarse as a jackal. Too terrifying.
Is this a human being? Is it precisely because of his strange appearance that the six states spread true and false rumors, ultimately causing the first emperor to burn books and bury scholars? Starving to the point of burning books and burying scholars, people might notice a questionable point. Why is it that after the book burning, we can still see pre-Qin classics like the Analects, Mencius, and the Book of Songs today? Weren't all the pre-Qin books supposed to have been burned? The key point lies in the fact that few people noticed that the new emperor of Qin did not burn all the books of the six states, but primarily burned historical texts, meaning history books. In the historical records, the chronological table of the six states records that, in the year of Shinji, he arrogantly burned all the poetry and books under heaven, and the historical records of the feudal lords were burned even more thoroughly. That is to say, he burned poetry and books throughout the land, and why burn the history books? Because the historical records of the feudal lords contain things that strongly provoke the new emperor of Qin. In other words, it revealed his divine secrets. Sima Qian in the records of the Grand Historian further explains why the Book of Songs, the Songs of Chu, and the Analects have survived to this day. It is because these classic texts were hidden among the people, making it impossible to burn them all. Only the historical records were completely destroyed, because the historical records of the feudal lords were all stored in the palace, so they were completely burned. In other words, the ancient history of Huasha was originally recorded by the feudal lords, but all of it was added into the inner palace and burned by the new first emperor, truly worth remembering. Then, the historical records also mention that only one historical book was preserved, named Qin Shi, which is a history of the Qin state. Why? Only by reading Qin Shi can one understand that it does not record the sun and moon, and its text is brief and incomplete. That key sentence means that the historical records of the Qin dynasty only survived in abridged and fragmented copies precisely because the crucial parts had been removed, which allowed them to be preserved.
Niat Wei. Niat Wei.
Therefore, that part was burned to ashes, only the strong survived, and the copy without the sun and moon managed to escape the disaster and survive to this day. So, what exactly is the secret of the sun and moon? Are there no other clues left in the historical records?
T. Worry, Let.
Before continuing to search for clues, I'd like to mention that the Shadow_Archives team now has an additional channel dedicated to exploring historical and religious mysteries. You can see it on the homepage. Please remember to support the
Additionally, the most effective way to find the channel is to search for Mythical World. We promise to bring you the most memorable and distorted information. Now let's get back to the story.
According to historical records, the father of Yin Zheng, who was then the crown prince of the state of Qin and the son of Lord Anglo, was named Meng Zichu, with the full name Ying Zichu. The Warring States period determined the situation between Qin and Zhao. Zichu was interrogated and sent by Anglo Zhen to Handan, the capital of Zhao, as a hostage.
At that time, Zhao greatly hated Qin, so they despised Zichu and treated him like a slave, causing Zichu to live in hardship and destitution in the state of Zhao. One day, the wealthy merchant Lu Buwei arrived in Handan. In the middle of the town, he accidentally saw the death site and exclaimed in surprise, "This is a valuable item, worth keeping."
Why did Lu Buwei immediately recognize the jade eye as a precious item at just a glance? That is a point of suspicion. Then, Lu Buwei began to invest large sums of money and also presented the beauty Zhao Ji to the heir. History records that before True Company was presented by Lu Bati, she was already pregnant. The implication is that although Dong Qin was born to Zhao Ji, he was actually the biological son of Lu Buwei. I find this record rather unbelievable. Apart from that, no other place in the historical records confirms the existence of an illegitimate child. Moreover, both Lu Buwei and Lady Zhao were ordinary people, making it unlikely for them to give birth to someone with an extraordinary appearance like Qin Shi Huang. It is very likely that Sima Qian was influenced by the public opinion of his time, because in the spring and autumn and Warring States period, there was indeed a precedent of offering a beauty to replace the monarch. In earlier texts predating the records of the Grand Historian, such as the Spring and Autumn Annals of the States and the Strategies of the Warring States, it is recorded that Lord Zan, one of the four nun masters, offered a stunning song to the Light King of the Examination Bureau. That beauty was pregnant. Later, she gave birth to a boy, who succeeded to the throne of Chu and became King Hu of Chu. One rumor is the same, so it's hard to confirm that Yin Zheng is actually the biological son of Lu Buwei.
There is another strange clue right in the name of Zichu. The father of the first emperor, Zichu, also had another name, called Yi Ren. Strategies of the Warring States.
But the meaning in classical Chinese also carries a connotation of strangeness. So, Yi Ren means the strange person. The Zhao people called Zichu Yi Ren. As soon as Lu Buwei arrived in Hannan, he recognized Yi Ren as a valuable commodity. Why? Was it because Yi Ren had an unusual appearance, DNA similar to the first emperor, with features like tiger mouth, sun horn, hawk nose, and clear eyes? Lu Buwei saw the appearance of a sage at first glance, hence he called him a valuable item worth keeping. Historical records do not describe Zichu's appearance at all, not a single line. That in itself is very strange.
But there is still a faint clue to follow, which is the shape of the written character. It is usually composed of. Some ancient writings in Qin records depict Yi resembling a long creature like a snake, with 2 claws below. Looking further back to Oracle bone script, there are variants depicting a large-headed humanoid with horns, 3-fingered clawed hands. Some variants even appear to wear robes, with a high protruding head resembling a sun horn or the Ushnisha on Buddha's head. Of course, this is paleography, not historical portraiture. From So the open question is,
Does this legendary character, Yi, reflect some ideology or belief linked to the Qin lineage?
from Zichu to Yingzheng, or is it merely a coincidence of script evolution? By now, you might feel this video is a bit forced regarding the origin of the first emperor. But be patient a little longer, follow the thread of my clues, and you will eventually know the final truth.
Speaking of this large-headed, 3-fingered creature, it has actually been found by archaeologists. They are the mummies discovered in the Nazca mine area, Peru. Their heads and eye sockets are very large, and a characteristic of these mummies is that their hands and feet all have 3 fingers.
In a previous episode, I analyzed these mummies in depth. You can watch it on the channel.
Currently, Peruvian scientists have mobilized significant funding, used CT scans, and produced multiple scientific reports, all proving they are real, not fabricated.
Another piece of evidence is in Peru, on a peninsula called Paracas, among the artifacts excavated there. Besides the elongated-headed people we discussed in detail, there are many handicrafts, including textiles and pottery. Inside them, they depict a mysterious creature. Our ancestors who saw the Nazca mummies' appearance thus depicted them. Through research, scientists discovered bumps on the skin of these mummies, like this.
Moreover, the fingertips have clear fingerprints similar to humans, extremely peculiar.
I'm not saying the first emperor looked exactly like them. I mean there is a strong connection between them. Look at the Paracas pottery. On it, there is a figure with a head like the sun, 3-fingered hands, and 2 crosses on the body. This figure holds a staff in each hand. This image is called Viracocha by the Incas, the supreme deity of the Incas, even higher than the sun god. Among the remaining temple ruins of Viracocha, the most famous is Tiwanaku in Bolivia. At Tiwanaku, there are 2 famous stone gates, one called the Sun Gate, one called the Moon Gate, representing the sun and moon. Right in the middle of the Sun Gate is carved the image of Viracocha, described as a high-ranking deity, above the sun god. Furthermore, he appeared all over the Americas. The path he walked is called the Road of Viracocha. According to Inca mythology, Viracocha created the world and then created humans, but the first version of humans were mindless giants, a failed product. So he used a great flood to destroy them, then he modified human DNA, creating the second version, which is Homo sapiens like us today. After creating humans, Viracocha wandered the earth, sowing the seeds of humanity everywhere. The Incas described him as tall, with a broad head like a pharaoh, wearing a white robe, holding a staff and a book. While traveling in South America, he taught humans wisdom and healed their illnesses. Wherever he passed or stopped, there are records, called the Road of Viracocha. Later, Viracocha reached the western coast of Peru, stopped, bid farewell to humanity, then stepped into the sea, walked on water, headed into the Pacific, until his shadow disappeared on the horizon. The most famous trace Viracocha left in South America, besides the Sun Gate, is the massive stone complex Puma Puntia. This ruin, surely many have heard of or seen online. Inside, the stone blocks are carved with very high precision, reported in many foreign documentaries. The material there is extremely hard granite. It's unclear what technology was used to cut it straight in drill holes. But certainly this technology was extraordinary. Even modern technology finds it hard to achieve. From here, a clue emerges. What did Viracocha look like, and is there any connection to the first emperor of Qin? I carefully examined the Sun Gate and its other depictions of Viracocha. This is his frontal appearance. On both sides are many winged and feathered figures, lined up like celestial beings. Possibly these are the profiles of Viracocha and his retinue. In Paracas cultural artifacts, Viracocha is again depicted with wings, soaring like a bird in the sky. Thus, Viracocha is very likely an angel-like bird-human figure in ancient religions, corresponding to the Naga in Buddhism.
They also have a negative connection with the dragon tribe, or reptiles. The two scepters in Viracocha's hands in various cultures are often carved as snakes, i.e., the dragon tribe. In China, there are dragon and phoenix motifs on city walls. Where there is a phoenix, there is
Therefore, the dragon tribe and Viracocha are likely different forms of the same reptilian race.
Within this, there are certainly countless hidden grievances and deep secrets. Let's look further at Buddhist paintings depicting the Naga deities, the golden Naga.
Their noses are exactly as described in historical records, sharp like the beak of a bird. Because they are bird-like creatures, their chests might resemble that of a chicken or eagle, like Qin Shi Huang's, meaning a very prominent chest. Let's move to another interesting part, as mentioned, Viracocha. He stepped into the sea, walking all the way to the horizon, implying he entered the Pacific Ocean, heading west. Where is the westernmost edge of the Pacific? It is China.
In ancient poetry, it is recorded that the heavenly mandate descended upon the songbird.
Historical records state that Diku, one of the 5 emperors of Huaxia, had a concubine named Jiandi.
Jiandi saw the songbird drop an egg, picked it up and swallowed it, and conceived and gave birth to Xie, the ancestor of the Shang dynasty. Also, in the Yin Benji, it is written that the daughter of Diku was mating when she suddenly saw the songbirds egg and swallowed it, giving birth to Da Yi, the ancestor of Qin Shi Huang.
They are all hybrids between the Zan bird and humans. That Zan bird is the Viracocha tribe. It must be reiterated that Viracocha once traveled in the Americas, teaching knowledge and healing people.
From ancient times to pre-Qin China, there is always record of a divine healer named Bian Ke. Historical records note that Bian Ke could see through the body, observe the 5 viscera and 6 bowels, and use exquisite surgery to replace hearts. The time span of Bian Ke's appearance in historical records exceeds 400 years, an extraordinary lifespan.
Why would a person be named Bian Ke? Translated, it means magpie bird. So what did he look like? Look at the stele unearthed in Shandong. The rubbing shows Bian Ke as a bird-human figure draped in feathers with wings. People line up waiting for his treatment. The strangeness lies in the fact that these depictions are all found in Shandong. And Shandong faces directly onto the Pacific Ocean. Did Viracocha land in the Shandong region? According to the Feng Shan Shu in historical records, Qin Shi Huang, during his 3 eastern tours, personally visited Yantai and Weihai in Shandong to seek communion with immortals.
In Shandong, there is also the legend of Punlai, the fairyland, associated with the tale of crossing the sea to catch them.
If piecing together myths, could catching immortals refer to a branch of an alien race, tentatively likened to Viracocha crossing the sea and landing in Punlai?
It might just be a coincidence of legends, though the motif of crossing the sea, landing, and encountering fairylands is truly intriguing.
So, if the Viracocha tribe
From ancient times to the Qin period moved around in the Central Plains, continuously interbreeding with humans, did Qin Shi Huang ever directly meet up?
And the answer is yes. This is recorded in the Dongji Quanxi.
The book writes that after becoming emperor, Qin Shi Huang was fond of tales of immortals and wished to communicate with them.
Then one day, indeed, the immortals came to pay him a visit. These immortals sat on a boat shaped like a seashell with spiral patterns. The shell boat could even submerge to the seabed, called a wave-riding wheelboat. The beings piloting the boat were extraordinarily tall, described as Tenjiang long, about 23 meters.
Their bodies were covered in bird and animal feathers, resembling the Zan bird, and they called themselves the people of the Qin star, i.e., from the Qin star.
Qin Shi Huang asked, "What is the ultimate truth of the universe? Where do you come from?"
The Qin people answered and recounted the history of the universe as if it were right before,
as if letting the king see the dawn of creation, layer by layer, inch by inch. They said their country is in the direction of the setting sun, 90,000 miles away. On the Qin star, 1 day equals 10 Earth years. On Earth, the Yan region is where they once resided. On their planet,
There is a type of stone that emits light and fire.
in the Yan region, they taught the people to use that stone to make fire and cook food.
From far away in the universe, they saw anomalies appearing on Earth. According to their records, it was the sign of a change in dynasty.
Therefore, they are watching. Upon arrival, they realized he had truly matured.
Could that be Qin Shi Huang? Historical records do not clearly document it. After hearing this, Qin Shi Huang was unconvinced and hastily exclaimed that he was indeed a divine. After Qin Shi Huang passed away, Qin Shi Ziying ascended the throne. The Qin dynasty's industry identity.
One night, Ziying dreamed of a 10-jong tall ancestor with long black hair.
A bright red horse-drawn carriage descended upon the imperial. When meeting Ziying, the immortal said verbatim,
"We are celestial envoys from afar.
the world is about to fall into chaos. Someone with the same surname and name will step forward to eliminate the messenger." Ziying woke up, pondering whether the same surname and name referred to the Zhao clan.
Could it be that Zhao Gao was plotting to seize power? Fearing this, Ziying immediately ordered the arrest and beheading of Zhao Gao.
After the soldiers beheaded him, they threw the body onto the street.
Crowds surged to witness the scene. Suddenly,
A bird-like object shot out from Zhao Gao's body. Historical records describe it as a green sparrow, riding the wind into the clouds and disappearing.
the story leaves a chilling question mark here.
Could it be that mysterious forces intervened in the struggle for power in the Central Plain?
And Zhao Gao was merely a pawn? Afterward, another eerie event occurred.
That was the fall of the Qin dynasty, and Han Gaozu Liu Bang ascended the records of the grand historian's basic annals of Gaozu. Liu Bang's mother rested by the riverbank when suddenly thunder and rain poured down. A dragon appeared on her body, and after 10 months of pregnancy, she gave birth to Liu Bang. The text records that Gaozu had a dragon nose and dragon eyes. Elegant beauty, with 72 black moles on his left thigh. That is, Liu Bang had a dragon nose, dragon eyes, a beautiful beard, and 72 black moles on his thigh like dragon scales. Qin Shi Huang had a mysterious appearance. Liu Bang had a dragon face and dragon eyes.
Could this be a conflict between the Zan Diao tribe and the Dragon tribe on Earth? Behind the changes in the world, is it like the Bible writes? Archangel Michael's great battle with the dragon Satan. Competing for world domination. Whether you believe it or not, the clues have been there all along. Dragon chants in the sky over Xi'an,
Tombs like pyramids. Historical texts were burned clean, leaving only incomplete Qin records. Descriptions of late Mao's, solar eclipses, loyalty, and eagle chests using green.
Then traces of humanoid alien races from Paracas, Naka to Viracocha and the ancient Sun. When placed side by side, a red thread appears. Orthodox history is just the tip of the iceberg.
The submerged part is the admiration of the sun and moon, the question of which bloodline passed through those empires.
But here, what matters is not which theory to believe, but daring to ask questions. Why such a peak technological and artistic era as the Qin left no portrait of its most powerful emperor?
Why the historical texts of the vassal states were meticulously destroyed, reading only abridged versions without sun and moon? And why in the same period, the imagery of Diao Long repeatedly appears from Asia to America? If Qin Shi Huang were merely a great human, the story would have ended long ago. But from the dragon's chant in the clouds to the non-human descriptions in ancient texts,
From the legends of Zan Diao to the stone crossing the sea. From the curved boats of the Wanchu people to the glowing and igniting in the Yan land. All suggest that our history is just an edited version. The remainder is the part that was burned, buried, possibly containing clues about the origin and fate of humanity. So, is the new emperor of Qin human? The most honest answer at this moment is that we don't have enough evidence to conclude. But we have enough traces to no longer be satisfied with the easy answer. And perhaps, this unease with the mismatched pieces is precisely the signal that the search should continue. What about your perspective? Please leave your opinion in the comments section below.
And don't forget to support the channel by subscribing, sharing,
so we can continue to decode the remaining mysteries together.